Hey guys and girls, and welcome back to the show. Now, this is a hard one to do today. I'm going to be talking about the Suns and that awful weekend that we had. We went up to Brisbane and we got done. And we weren't just unlucky, or it wasn't a close game. We were absolutely obliterated. The scores don't tell the real story. They had 40 scoring shots. The lines were all over us. We had no defensive run. We didn't even look like we wanted to be there. So that was just one of those games where you don't know. You rub it off. You go, all right, that game didn't exist. That happened. Ignore it. Move on to the next game. But as bad as we were, there were only probably maybe a couple of people that could probably hold their head up that they played well. Lynch played pretty well, and Aaron Hall played pretty well. They're probably the two that I can think of that probably deserve praise. They had good games. Everyone else didn't seem like they wanted to be there, didn't seem like they actually cared. But it's football, there's always another week, so onwards this week. And also congratulations to the Brisbane Lions. They played really well. What more to say really? They played really well with an undermanned midfield. If they made more of their chances, they could have beaten us by 50, 60 points. So I don't want to seem like sour grapes on the Gold Coast side, but I would also like to congratulate Brisbane for playing really well. Our injury list it's starting to grow a bit, unfortunately. We started so well with injuries this season, but it's starting to slowly build up. So actually on the weekend in the seconds, Fiorini, who was looking like a really good player, went down with a knee injury, so he's probably going to be out the rest of the season, which is really disappointing. I was hoping to see a bit of him this season. As you go down, there are a few tests there, so they could potentially come back. Mackenzie's probably due back this week, which is good. Prestia's looks like he's been carrying a shoulder for the past couple of weeks. Whether that's the case, we'll see. But he might this week. He might play this week. He might go out this week. We'll wait and see. And one that isn't named there that I just want to bring up really quickly is Gaz. He doesn't look his polished self, and when I was watching on the weekend, he looked like he was sort of carrying his shoulder a bit sorely. So they probably don't list it there, but if he plays this week, keep an eye on how he carries his shoulder, because I think there might be something there. The one injury that's sort of really hurting us at the moment is Rory Thompson. Now, because May got suspended, I'm going to talk about that in a second, we really need Rory in the team. So hopefully he is back within a week or two. He's not supposed to be out for too long, but hopefully he's back next week, because we really, really need him to solidify that defence. So, deservedly, the only thing that the media were talking about the Suns this week was the big hit Stephen May put on Stephen Martin. Firstly, up front, I'd like to say I'm glad Stephen Martin's okay. I'm glad he isn't too seriously injured, and he looks like he's going to play this week. May's hit, it's stupid. He was just really stupid. It wasn't a smart thing to do. Look, if he doesn't jump off the ground, he's probably okay. But it just didn't look good, and it's not what the AFL wants these days. A couple of years ago, the AFL would have been all about those big hits, but these days you can't pick a bloke off that's not really looking. The worst part for May was that he ran past the ball. He ran past the ball, ignored the ball, and went straight into Martin, and which didn't help by Ablett pushing him, mind you. Now, people saying, Ablett deserves a week or 2 weeks for pushing Martin. He wasn't pushing him to push him into May. He doesn't know May's going to try and line him up. He's pushing him to push him off balance, so hopefully, he's hoping May picks up the ball, gives it to Ablett, and Ablett turns around and goes back the other way. But it's just one of those things. It's football. It's a contact sport. This sort of stuff happens. You don't want to see it happen, but May made a poor choice at the time. He's come out and apologised, and good on him, because that's what you want to see. You don't want to see him harbour any ill will or something, but he's come out, he's apologised, we move on. Martin will play this week, and 5 weeks at the end of the day for Stephen May's hit is probably fair. I'd have liked to be 4, obviously, being a Suns fan, because I don't want him to be out any longer than he needs to be, but 5 probably feels about right. So, coming into this weekend against the Kangaroos, there are a lot of changes we could possibly make. Now, looking at the reserves on the weekend, they had a big win over the Lions seconds, which is good to see. So meaning we've got a few choices to bring back in. So firstly, the first person would be Jarrad Grant. For people that might not remember, he played in the Bulldogs last year. He played the majority of the games last year for the Bulldogs too, and got delisted at the end of the season. We picked him up as a third tall option. The first couple of weeks in the reserves, he hasn't really lit it up, but last week kicked 7 goals, looked really, really solid. So he's one that I can imagine bringing in as a goal kicking option. Another person would be Luke Russell, who he's a favourite of mine. He's probably one of my favourite players just because he's been there since the start, and I just gravitated towards him when he was playing. He had 32 touches and kicked a couple of goals, so he could be looking to come back in. And as well as another player that sort of doesn't really get talked about a lot is Seb Tape. He's a pick. He's an early pick. He's a first round pick, and he just hasn't taken off. So, but he's been playing for the midfield. He got 30 odd touches, and he tackles really well. So he could be someone we could possibly bring in to bring a bit more physicality and a bit more tackling to the midfield. His disposal lets him down, to be fair, but if he can play to his limitations, get off those quick handballs, get him under the packs, handle out to the players that can kick the ball, he could do well as well. And the last one I mentioned is Peter Wright. He's been knocking on the door the past couple of weeks. He took over 10 marks and he kicked a couple of goals, and he's always the threat to slot into that team. As for who comes out, look, I don't really want to pick. There could be, I'm not going to mention anyone because I could think about, if I was going to sit there and mention, I could think about 10 people that probably should come out. But I'm not going to pick out anyone that's going to come out. But those are the people I'd like to have a look in, whether it's, and because of the way we've got our injuries at the moment, our defence, we're missing our 2 top key defenders. So someone like a Leslie or a Shade or a Keogh could come and slot into that defensive spot well. But looking to the Kangaroos this week, they're flying. To be fair, they're flying. They're undefeated this season, sitting on top of the ladder, which is great to see for that club after 10 or so years ago that they were in a little bit of trouble. So it's good to see them performing so well to keep the competition strong. Usually with the Kangaroos, we actually have a really good record against them. I don't think, and if I say anything wrong, please do correct me in the comments below. I don't think they've actually ever beat us at Metricon. There have been years that we've been struggling, like last year where we only won 4.5 games, but one of those wins was against the Kangaroos up there. So we've got a pretty good record against them. So I'm hoping that continues this week. That hopefully that outweighs our injuries and our supposed lack of form from last week. So hopefully that bodes well for us. The one thing with the Kangaroos I'm worried about is their three key forwards. They look real ominous at the moment. They're kicking a lot of goals. They're doing a lot of things right. So we need to mark them up, and we don't really have the key defenders for it at the moment. So a couple of players are going to have to play a bit undersized, and hopefully our run and our spread, we can try and run the key forwards off their feet out of their defensive 50. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed we play I'm backing us in for a win. You always back your own team in for a win, but I think we're a decent chance. Not a lot of people are going to give us much of a chance. I think the Kangaroos are $1.55 at the moment. I don't think they're that much of a favourite. I think the odds should be a lot more closer, but we'll see how we go. Thank you for watching. It's been a tough week to be a Gold Coast Suns supporter, but looking forward to the weekend. Like and subscribe to follow all my AFL content, as well as my Supercoach diaries, which should be out tomorrow. Let me know down below if you think the Suns are a chance this week, or if you follow the Roos, do you think they're going to win, and why do you think they're going to win? Do let me know in the comments below. Have a good one, and I'll see you later.